you so much for accepting our invitation, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's definitely a pleasure to talk to a lot of youngsters and share some experiences.
So thank you so much once again, Mr. Pavangopal, the Chief Marketing Officer of Nandus Food Private Limited, Bangalore, is with us. The man who has got around 2 decades of experience, started with engineering background and moved into business world and heading marketing division, and has worked on a lot of branding and aspects into the food and beverage industry. It's a great opportunity for us, especially the students who are seated here from Adithya School of Business Management. And once again, I wish to register my gratitude to Mr. Bhavan for accepting this invitation and gracing this occasion on behalf of our management, especially our chairman and trustee. They are unable to join. They have sent their greetings to you, Mr. Bhavan. And, maybe you can start with, our students may start with some introduction. Then you can start with your early life, how you started your career, how you moved into your career ladder and so on. Then we can go with some question and answer after that. Is that fine with you?
Perfect. Makes sense. Over to you.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. I see some bright faces here.
All right. Thank you. So we'll start now with an introduction. Yes, please proceed.
Good evening. I warmly welcome everyone to ASBM Lead Talk 2023, which is organized by Adithya School of Business Management, Coimbatore. I feel super privileged to welcome you all this wonderful occasion. I welcome our Honorable Chairman, Engineer C. Sukumaran sir, and our Managing Trustee, Mr. Praveen Kumar sir, to this event in absence here. I welcome our diligent mentor, Professor and Head of ASBM, Dr. N. Sundarabandin sir, for this event. Now I welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Pavangopal here. He is a Chief Marketing Officer of Nandus Foods Private Limited, Bangalore, and a well-rounded brand marketing and business management professional with 19 years of experience. Mr. Pavangopal has completed his education in St. Joseph Arts and Science College and BMS College of Engineering. He has good communication skill in 5 different languages like English, Kannada, Tamil, Hindi, and Telugu. He is a person of complete package of experience and skill. He has experience in different fields like engineering, head of marketing, principal consultant, and VP strategy and operations. He has a lot of skill in different areas like customer relationship management, customer lifecycle management, channel account management, and digital marketing, and other 15 plus areas. I profoundly delighted to take this opportunity to welcome our guest, Mr. Pavangopal sir, to this occasion. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to you, sir. I feel proud to have you here with us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Mr. Bhavan, you can start sharing about your early life, how you started your career, and we can move into some Q&A after that from our students. Is it fine?
Perfect. Perfect. So can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So nice to see you here. So I'm an engineer by education. Okay. And in fact, I started working when I was in my 3rd year of engineering itself. I started working with a firm, and I soon realized that, this is not something in terms of building houses, which is what a lot of typical civil engineers do. I said, probably I'm not best suited to do this. I realized that pretty early. And then I also started to do an internship with Larsen & Toubro in their oil and gas division, because I was interested in one particular field of engineering, which was structural engineering. And then post my internship, I got into Larsen & Toubro itself and started my career there. And from there on, I moved into an operations and a more customer-facing role, which was to do with multidisciplinary engineering management. Okay, so there were 7 different engineering departments, and I would do the project management for all those 7 departments. Then the entrepreneurial bug was, it was always something which interested me. And I joined Virtual Logic Systems as one of the promoter group. It was a startup. It was a very early startup back in 2005, 2006 when I joined them. And we built the startup. We raised about Series A funding 2 times, and we started creating a lot of virtual reality-based simulators for clients in the manufacturing, automotive, defense, railway space. And that's how the initial first 10 years of my career was. So I think one input or one advice that I would have for a lot of the youngsters is, if you have 2-3 different areas of interest and you want to sort of know which area actually excites you the most, because you would have learned most of it in theory but not experienced it, try and apply and get into internship opportunities. Don't worry about how much it pays you, but get hands-on experience and exposure to see what's happening and then see what interests you and what doesn't. It's like a process of elimination.
That's a sweet and short and very nice, introduction by you, Mr. Bhavan. I have a kind of question. And you said it's monotonous, the engineering, and you have decided in the early life. Many people think sales is something which is not in my cup of tea, and marketing is not my cup of tea. But you are different, especially engineering students. I don't think majority will fit into this field, especially into business as well as. And everything is business, like engineering also, you have to earn money end of the day, isn't it? They don't realize that they don't realize it basically. Where the money comes from is basically from marketing, from sales, and where you are reaching the customer, they are the bankers, the profit center. So where you are focusing more and more onto that, that's something dynamic where you wanted to play the role. And what made you that interest, brought in you the interest towards marketing and sales?
So it was more an interest of actually being an entrepreneur and trying something on your own. And when you start to be an entrepreneur, if you shy away from doing sales, you will not survive, because nobody is going to give you a salary at the end of the month. So, like how Professor rightly said, many people actually shy away from doing sales. They feel it is not their cup of tea. But I would urge everybody to try their hands at sales, because there is some sort of a fear. It could be a fear of rejection, or it could be fear of failure that you need to overcome. And one thing you should always remember in your career is you're always selling. It could be selling internally, it could be selling externally. You could be selling a product, you could be selling a service, you could be selling an idea. Every time you have to go and convince.
Even you have to sell yourself. Even you have to sell yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. So don't ever shy away from sales and selling. So it's very important that you try your hand at it, be confident, be fearless. And like how Sir rightly mentioned, I remember one of my first boss, Mr. Akshat was his name. I can never forget that gentleman. This was almost 16, 17 years ago. He had a poster in his cabin. Every time we would walk in, he would say, marketing is vanity, sales is sanity, cash is reality. Go collect the money and come.
Exactly. So after all, everybody, earn towards making profit and making money.
Absolutely.
That's the reality. That's the reality. We have to accept the fact and work towards it. If we hesitate, then how will you earn? It's going to be hard.
Please don't hesitate at a very young age.
Yeah.
Try your hand. It is okay. Overcome that fear of failure, because you will be faced with many situations in your life where you will have to try.
Yes, let's go with questions.
Go ahead, please.
Please unmute and talk. Yeah.
So, sir, being an engineer graduate, how did you transform as a CMO?
Sorry, can you repeat that question? I couldn't hear you properly.
From starting
Sir,
from engineering, how
asked,
did you become CMO in the shorter tenure? That was his question, sir.
So sometimes, life has its own plans for you. You can plan a couple of things the way you wanted. But somehow you will also need to develop a certain amount of faith that things will always work out and take certain risks in life, which is something that at every other turn in your life, there will be some opportunity which will come your way. Try and understand if you're willing to take the opportunity or not willing to take the opportunity. Basis fear. If it is something which you're afraid of, then more often than not, it is worth trying. Okay, so try and overcome that fear. I took quite a few risks. In fact, I'll just give you one sort of a story. When I told my family that I was actually in a very well-settled job in Larsen & Toubro's hydrocarbon business, when I said I'm going to stop going to Larsen & Toubro and I'm going to go join a startup, everybody thought I was, I'd lost my mind. It's like, why are you doing this? People struggle and try hard to get into an organization like L&T, and end of the day, you have gotten, now you want to leave all of this and you want to go and do something which is unknown, right? So at every turn of your life, there will be some opportunity which will come your way. If it scares you, please go ahead and give it a shot, because unless you sort of overcome that fear, success will be a little difficult. So multiple such moves. So I moved in from being an engineer into being into sales, into developing products, then being able to sell those products to make money. And during that entire process, my interest in B2B marketing and slowly to understand consumers began. I would read a lot. I would, that is one habit which has actually helped me a lot. I would constantly upgrade my skill. And then I got an opportunity to work as a principal consultant in a boutique consulting firm. And then I was leading a very large digital marketing agency in the country. And from then on, I got the opportunity, given my experience, to become the chief marketing officer for a nice brand here.
That's really wonderful, Mr. Pavan. You are short and sweet in all the answers, where I have met a lot of people from the CEO post and typical marketing person, result oriented, just to the question and answering to the question. What a wonderful session this session is. Yeah. Next question, please.
As you have 2 decades of experience in corporate world, can you please share the way by which you built your team?
By which I built my
How do you build your team?
Team. You asked a very important question. And Srija, is it?
Sir? Yes, sir.
So that's actually a very important question, Srija. And sir, you may agree with me. Nobody teaches you how to be a manager.
Exactly. Yes. A manager or a leader. People tell the qualities of leader and managers, but I don't think you can apply that right away.
Yes, you can't.
Unless you go and investigate and you go and try out yourself and develop in yourself, it's not possible.
Absolutely, absolutely important. I wish more academicians and professors like you invest and try and figure out ways and means of teaching people, not even students who are taking up master's degrees, but once they are about 3-4 years of experience, what it means to be a manager is a very important skill. Building a team is, first of all, you need to understand whether you're part of a team or you're an individual player. Okay, if there are some people, your empathy needs to be very high. Your ability to collaborate, your ability to help out others, your ability to not always want to have the limelight, your ability to work with other people, your ability to communicate with other people. These are softer aspects. It's not something which is very difficult, right through your younger age. As and when you're born, the interactions with your family, then when you go out and play with your school friends, when you go out and play with friends around your home, there are so many such human interactions which shape your mindset. So the first and foremost thing is for you to understand that you are a part of a team initially, before you consider yourself a manager or before you consider yourself a leader. And it goes a long way in terms of being able to identify people who have necessary talent, The best way in which I have been able to build my team is I always try and hire people in their area. They have to be much better than me. Because they are the specialists. My job is to make sure that I define the question properly to them, and they are better equipped to be able to come up with solutions to that question. So I always look for people who have drive, who want to go ahead and do something in life. They're very kicked about it. They're willing to do their own homework. They are very enthusiastic about moving ahead with it. And identify people who are very ethical. And what I've also realized is identify people who are actually hungry. There will be many people that you come across in your career who want a job, and there are people who actually need a job. And in my opinion, people who need a job tend to do a better job than those who just want a job. It's a huge subject. It's a huge field. In my experience, I think you first need to learn to be a team player. Then you need to understand and value the team that you are with, and then provide opportunities to people who are hungry, who are driven, and who are ethical.
Thank you, sir.
How do you approach building and maintaining the relationship with clients or customers?
Trust. It's the most important thing is transparency and trust. Whomever you work with, let's see, if they have to turn back and always have to watch their back, then it won't work. The first and most important thing is you have to invest in that relationship. And the best way to invest in that relationship is to invest it with trust. Okay, always build trust, always be transparent, respect the other person. It does not matter whether that person is a senior, whether that person is a junior, and try and always understand their point of view and where they're coming from, and be able to provide a solution to them. The moment you start doing that, there is a certain rapport, there is a certain relationship which gets built over a period of time. And that is how you sort of, end of the day, it's human interaction. It could be B2B, it could be B2C, it could be B2B2C. There are so many different terminologies that they would have taught you in your school with respect to the various types of businesses which exist. But end of the day, you're still dealing with human beings at every step of the way and at every interaction. Even if you're doing B2B sales, you're still dealing with a human on the other side, right? So invest in building that relationship, invest in providing solutions, invest in trying to solve problems, and invest in being very transparent and building trust. And that is how you will always be able to develop a good equation with businesses, with customers, or with clients.
Thank you, sir.
We are not able to hear you.
Sir, branding is something which is very much spoken today in the corporate world. So the days are gone, people try only with cost-based, purchase and so on. So what do you think this scenario, how the transformation is taking place? Even developing country like us, we are all so much concentrating on the brands today. And yours also is Nandus is a brand where very famous in South India, the food industry is right.
Brands are extremely important, sir. It is something all of you should always invest in. I mean, look at the choices you yourself make, every step of the day. There will come a point where there won't be a lot of tangible difference between the product or the service that you're offering. And the differentiator will be the brand that you will have to create. And the brand is not something which which just gets created with an advertisement. Brand today, especially with customers who are very woke, if I'm going to use that word, because everybody is on social media, digitization, internet penetration in our country is very high. We are no longer a third world country. We are a highly educated country. We have some of the smartest young minds, and we have some of the best internet penetration in the world. So the advancements that are there in our country, we must be really proud of. And in fact, the so-called developed Western world also does not have the sort of quick commerce or digital payment systems that we have in our country. So today's customer is well-informed, well-educated, demands a lot more. So a brand gets built because of the multiple interactions the customer or the consumer has with the brand. Like if I take, let us say, one of the products that we sell. So now, given that we are a king of ingredients, we sell chicken, mutton, fish, and we also sell a lot of FMCG products. There is always the first interaction is when the customer actually visits our store. It could also be our e-commerce site, or it could be a physical store. So at that touch point, what he gets to see, what he gets to smell, how he gets greeted by a customer service associate forms an impression. That is the first touch point. The second touch point is when he actually buys the product and brings it home. When he opens it, when he starts to use the product, that is the second touch point. If there are any issues with the product, and if he reaches out to your customer care center, how you interact with them is another touch point. So a brand is a sum of the multiple different experiences and interactions a customer today has with the product or the company which is selling the product. So always invest in building a very strong brand. Understand what is important to your consumers, what is important to your customers, be able to add and deliver value. It's not always about being different. It's about doing something very, very well and being able to sort of deliver on whatever are the promises or whatever are the things that you claim you can deliver. I would actually recommend a book. It's a slightly old book, but I think it is a book that is extremely relevant that a lot of people should read. That was one book which actually influenced me a lot. The name of the book is Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. Okay. Since you're recording this session, you can always check back on it. It's called Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. So it is a book which talks about, how your product doesn't have to be different, how the service and the way in which you interact with your customer and satisfy their needs. If you do a good job there, how a wonderful brand gets built and how your business will get built.
That's a wonderful input, sir. We will buy a few books for our library, so we'll get the students to read out as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So, sir, what do you think about the role of a CMO like you, a day, how it starts with and how you prolong that whole day, and what are the challenges you face? Most of the time you can't go with plan and execute it, every time ad hoc basis you may have to work, right?
Oh, yeah, very true. Very true. Quite honestly, today the role of the CMO is sort of changing quite a lot. Okay, especially with the advent of digital technology, CMO is somebody who needs to be very good with analytics. A CMO is somebody who needs to be very good with understanding digital technology and social media and a lot of other, variety of different touch points that today's customers are on. CMO is somebody who absolutely needs to be the customer champion and needs to understand the customer day in, day out, and what drives the customer to make that choice and what drives the customer to not make a particular choice. CMO is somebody who also has to constantly work towards market penetration, market share growth, and revenue growth. Okay. And end of the day, the CMO is also accountable for retaining the number of customers. So in very simple terms, it's a very multifaceted role today. And it's a very challenging and interesting role for anybody to step into. Forget the title of it being a CMO, but anybody who is in marketing needs to be able to take care and address a lot of things. You are, at the end of the day, delivering value to the customer via your product or your service. So you need to be that customer champion and always think in terms of what is best for the customer and whether whatever you're offering is actually delivering that or not. And nothing really works as per plan in life. So that doesn't mean you shouldn't make a plan. Obviously, that gets you prepared. And when I say nothing really works as per plan, it doesn't work 100%. But the more experience you have, you will start to notice that your planning gets better. You're better prepared. You can anticipate twists and turns much better. And you should have that ability and confidence in yourself that whenever there is a curveball coming at you, you know how to handle it.
Great, sir. Yes. Vikram, not audible. Speak louder, please.
Greetings,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, Vikram.
Sir, it is a nice session that you have because you are talking very simple and looking very good. And like our professor told, very like giving a short and crispy manner to us, the guidance and support. It's very nice session, sir, with you.
Thank you, Vikram. I hope I could answer the questions that you were seeking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, as you are a CMO of your company, what is the key role you are facing? What are the key roles you are facing in your company?
He means, I think, the priorities. Priorities, sir. Priorities.
Yeah, I understand. So there are two absolutely important things. I mean, because at the end of the day, you need to drive business, you need to drive sales. Okay. So I'm constantly worried about only two things. The first thing is, how can I get a new customer to come and try what I'm selling? And how can I get an existing customer to come back again and again and buy from me? Fundamentally, and in a very, very, very basic principle of business is this. Okay. And that is the role of every CMO or every marketing person. Your objective is to get somebody to try, that is, try it for the first time. And your objective is going to be anybody who has tried it for the first time to come and try it again and again and come and buy your service. So these are the most important priorities. Think of this like bookends. If you have seen a bookshelf and there are two ends of the book, there is a lot that happens in between. You will do a lot of advertising, you will do a lot of brand building, you will do a lot of other digital marketing efforts and things of that sort to create awareness and get somebody to try your product. But end of the day, if your product is not good, even the best marketer will not be able to help your company or save your company. So focus on the development of the product is absolutely important. Focus on the service delivery is absolutely important. Focus on understanding pricing. Focus on understanding profitability. Focus on understanding P&L, service delivery. These are all things which happen between what a customer buys and how you are going to continuously be able to deliver on a particular product. So the most important priority for me is to be that customer champion, is to always look at how I can get more and more people to try what I'm selling, and how I can get a lot of the existing customers who have tried what I've bought to get them to come back again and again to me without going to a competitor. Okay. The second priority that is there for me is to make sure that the company can continue to sustain and we are making a profit at every step of the way. Today, you must have seen that there are a lot of startups in the tech world, a lot of startups which are, sort of laying off people because of profitability issues. There are a lot of balance sheets which are cooked up. There are a lot of sales numbers which are cooked up. There are a lot of issues which are happening. And a lot of these issues have happened because of the valuation game that everybody has been playing. And it has also happened because of, growth taking precedence over sustainability. End of the day, every business is built or started with the intention that that business will always continue to be in business. So it is very important for you to look at the health of your own business while you're serving customers. End of the day, you are in business to make money and for the business to be profitable. So there are two aspects. I look at serving customers and I look at how I can keep my own company healthy, such that it can continue to invest in developing better products and to be able to be in business and deliver more to customers in the long term.
So it was a nice thing, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, so can you please explain the CSR initiative in your company?
One of the most important thing that we do at Nandus is we are actually a poultry farming company which started in 1963. Okay. In fact, we have some operations in Coimbatore also. More than CSR, we are a very sustainability focused company. And when I talk about sustainability, we look at ecological sustainability and we also look at economical sustainability, because both are extremely important. Ecological sustainability is all to do with the planet, saving the planet, and making sure that we are all making the right choices in terms of not consuming a lot of non-renewable resources, in terms of not polluting the planet, and in terms of protecting and sort of nurturing what is there, which is life-giving. That is an aspect which we are continuing to do through the utilization of a lot of all our farms run on solar energy. Some of our farms also run on biogas. In fact, all our farms, we don't draw power from the grid at all. So from an ecological sustainability point of view, we have certain initiatives that we have taken in place such that, we do our bit in terms of saving the planet. But more importantly, economical sustainability is something that we offer to all our farmers. Because if anybody from your towns or from wherever you are, if you have seen poultry farming, it is typically a small backyard activity. And the traders, the middlemen actually control most of the pricing. And the farmer does not actually make a lot of money. He is exposed to a lot of price volatility in the entire equation. He makes money only when the bird prices are more. He tends to lose a lot of money most of the year. So one way in which we ensure economic sustainability is we set a standard rate for the farmer throughout the year, irrespective of what the market price is. So we protect the farmer from market fluctuation of prices. And that is a very huge initiative that we do, thereby providing guaranteed, consistent revenue to the farmer, because of which his livelihood gets protected, his family gets protected, and he is safeguarded from volatility in the market.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can you please share about STP, segmenting, targeting, positioning, with reference to food and beverage? Always it's a major challenge I see. Yeah. Especially fast moving consumer goods or FMCG, anything you take it, it's not that easy to segment, because every time it's changing. The taste and preference of customer is getting changed. How do you ensure this, in your industry? It's happening.
Yeah, and food and beverages industries is very complicated because all of us have different tastes. And especially as Indians have a lot of different tastes. 1 minute we want chai, 1 minute we want coffee, 1 minute we want sweet, 1 minute we want salty, then we want something crispy, we want something hot, we want something soft, we want something soupy, we want something bread, we want, there's so many things in food, and it's so mood dependent. It is so emotion driven. You suddenly feel like you want to have something cold and refreshing. The very next moment you will feel, no, I'm feeling too full. I want something very light and refreshing. The next moment you will say that I want something very crispy and spicy. I want something which is very sweet because now I feel like having sweet. So whatever, it's a very common to succeed in business. See, you need to understand that every offering has multiple customers who will choose that offering. I'll give you one classic example, which is one product line that is there in our market. And in fact, the consumption of this particular product line has increased ever since the beginning of COVID, which is the frozen foods like chicken nuggets, burger patty, chicken 65, or it could even be vegetarian samosas, or it could be French fries, things of that sort. Once people were starved at home and you could not go out and eat, you wanted a lot of these snack items. She is the one who is the master of the kitchen. She is the one who makes that decision in terms of what to buy or what not to buy. Yes, the man of the house will also go to the supermarket and he will buy once in a way. But end of the day, she is the one who plans for the entire thing. Okay. So when you look at segmenting your customers, you need to segment. There are multiple. There is demographic basic segmentation. There is segmentation basis preferences. There is segmentation basis socioeconomic class or NCCS. There is segmentation basis need states. There is segmentation. So you need to identify each segment represents one type of customer, and products, especially in food, there will be customers from multiple different segments who will continue to buy your product. Okay. However, you need to identify those one or two top segments which provide you 70 to 80% of business, and that is who you need to position the brand for. You're solving their problem the most. Okay. So when it comes to these frozen foods and frozen snacks, you could say that it is a segment where people who are ordering on Swiggy and Zomato will be the people who buy it, who are typically youngsters, because they themselves can put a heat and eat dish in a microwave oven and get it ready. Versus you could also look at saying, no, even the man of the house is buying it, and adults who are coming to our store are also buying it, they're ordering it online. So when you have to prioritize, you're prioritizing for somebody who's a family woman. She could be a working woman or she could be a homemaker, but end of the day, she is the one who is the main target audience or the main target segment. And you need to understand insights in terms of what are the problems she's facing, what is her need, and what solutions is she seeking, basis which you can position. So STP process, I can go on and on about it. We could, in fact, I wish there were case studies that we could look at, or we could take dummy case studies and work towards doing STP. That would be wonderful. But STP, get your experience going on that. Read a lot about it. Implement it at every chance you get. If you're good at STP, you're going to be good at business, and you're going to be good at marketing.
That's great, sir. Yeah, wonderful answer. So good learning from this. Am I audible, sir?
Wonderful. I can hear you, Dr. Sundar.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yes, boys, students, you can proceed with your questions.
So last question of this session. So being there in the management for a longer period, what the lesson you are going to say for our budding manager, like our newcomers for us?
I can tell you out of my personal experience, okay? And you know how this is very funny. I will tell you what I have to tell you, you will not do it. Okay? Even my seniors, when they told me when I was young, I would say, old fellow, he will say something, what does he know? What is important? Okay? It is only after you cross a particular age that when you look back, you will understand that some of the most basic things are the things which are fundamental building blocks of your career. Okay. First and foremost, I would say, please try and identify things which interest you, things which you're passionate about. Multiple examples. Look at before every exam, be it in your bachelor's degree or even in your management program. There are many subjects that are there, and there are subjects which interest you. There are subjects which don't interest. There are subjects which you anyway have to pass, but every time you open that book or you go to that class, it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of focus and attention you have to put in that effort. Versus there could be certain subjects which come very naturally to you. You're genuinely interested in it. Try and identify areas in fields which interest you. Try and create as many opportunities to get a hands-on exposure in that field. It doesn't matter whether you get paid money, you don't get paid money. Try and gain an exposure. But without getting an exposure, do not take decisions or don't make judgments in terms of what you can do. And invest the first 3 to 5 years of your career in learning. Because the moment you become a team lead or a manager, you are only doing 80% of the time you're doing administrative activity, and you're not actually doing any skilled labor. This is a big challenge and a big problem that you will start with this. It is the first 5 to 7 years of your career that you will need to invest in learning. Choose places, choose opportunities, choose companies which actually invest and give an opportunity to youngsters to learn. Always choose a place where you will get maximum exposure, and always choose a place which will give you the ability to learn. That way, I was very fortunate to join a large company like Larsen & Toubro. I'm happy I did not join a startup. It's a personal opinion, though I moved on to startups at a later stage of my career. The amount of learning that I had in the first 3 years of my career in L&T has actually helped me come a long way and be who I am today. Invest in learning and always choose opportunities which will give you that option to learn rather than just money. Money will come. I know money is important, but money will come. You should have a basic threshold beyond which you should not make a choice basis, especially in the first 5 to 7 years of your career.
Thank you, sir. One last short question. What are your 3 KPIs as the CMO? You wanted to give it to the marketing department if you are, given a chance. 3 KPIs, which is mandatory, which people should not, take it light. You think?
First and foremost, you should always understand your customer. The most important KPI that you need to look at is what is the perception about your brand, and how will you try and nurture and build a perception of your brand. So that is the first KPI. The second KPI is absolutely market share, market share, market share. Okay, if you're offering a service or a product, ensure that how will you continue to build that particular
in simple sales, yeah, improve
sales.
sales.
You need to increase sales. There are no free lunches, especially for a sales and marketing guy, and you need to be able to always move the needle when it comes to sales and revenue generation. Okay. Third important thing at a very senior level is actually capability development. See, there are future requirements. Nobody thought that there would be quick commerce. Before that, nobody thought there would be digital payment. Nobody thought there would be an Uber and Ola. A lot of these developments are continuing to happen. Nobody thought that the internet would change the way we are talking to each other. It was unimaginable. Before COVID happened, the amount of travel that all of us would undertake and do things, nobody really actually thought that a meeting or people could work from home. So the world is evolving at a very fast pace. So developing the capability of your organization and your teams to be able to address the changing trends or the future is a very important third KPI or goal, I would say. More than KPIs, I would use the term goals. And I would say these are the 3 most important goals that any CMO needs to look
Basically,
at.
your strategic demands, all these 3, we can say that, which you can put it for your office. Superior customer responsiveness, and serving and earning higher profit. And the last important thing is working towards the future, strategizing towards the future, capability building for the organization, entire organization, of course, which includes team building, everything all together, right?
Everything, capability building, skill building, team building, you need to focus on it.
So these 3 are the major segments we should derive to write our KPIs. If you go to any organization, first we have to think about us in your own language. Am I right, sir?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to hear you. I'm not sure.
These are the 3 major elements we should consider as the major sections to build a KPI into the any organization which we belong to. Just I was asking, reconfirming with you again. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for summarizing that so nicely.
So thank you so much, sir. It was a great occasion and opportunity. I was told you have another project at 4:50. You have to go for it. And Hari was telling me, and it was a great occasion. You have answered almost all the questions from all the students. And thank you so much for your valuable time and things. Please visit as you said, you have a unit in Coimbatore. When you visit Coimbatore, please let us know. I'll work with you in future. Then you can visit our campus and we can have
that would be very nice.
Face-to-face programs. Even we come to Bangalore, we wanted to meet you and we want to have some discussions over there with the team or group of people.
Please do. I think Hari Vikram has my number. Yeah. So you can keep in touch.
We asked him to coordinate, and he'll be coordinating for further projects as well. And thank you so much, sir, once again, and have a great day and good weekend to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.